Okay, it looks like everything is a go. So, I guess might as well get this started. Hey everybody, it's the Single Shot Gamer. Today we are going to be revising the movement code to make Sonic feel more like he does in Sonic 1, 2, and 3. Last time we made a 360 engine, but that was more so how Sonic interacts with the environment. This is more so how Sonic interacts with the player inputs to him, blah blah blah. And we'll basically be getting him to feel like he does in his games. To do that, we'll be refining his ground movement, his jumping, letting him crouch, roll into a ball, spin dash, and all that. But with that being said, yeah, I'm doing this live because I've literally been trying to record this video for the past week and failing and having to re-record it and everything going horribly wrong, so screw it. I'm just going to do it live. And maybe at a later date try again to redo this in a video format like I did the last two videos and compress it down into a much more absorbable little piece, hopefully down to 30 minutes, but this is probably going to be much longer because I type really slow and talk really slow, and I'm very slow in general when it comes to programming. But enough preface, let's actually get into this. So, starting off, we're going to, well, first up we're going to do is literally refine Sonic's movement, starting with simple steps. So we're going to create a new variable called HSPM, and have this equal to 6. This is due to the fact that Sonic actually has two speed caps. He has his normal speed cap, and he has a... how do I explain this? Okay. Sonic has two speed caps. He has his normal speed cap, which is his hard cap, which is the fastest he can possibly go, which is 16 pixels per second. And then he has a soft speed cap, which is the fastest he can go or reach via normal acceleration means, which is 6. So let's go to our P movement. And we're just going to round this in brackets, and if HSP is less than HSPM, then the code goes on normal. This is just adding another gate for this to go over before Sonic's able to gain speed, which in this case is making sure he's not moving faster than his horizontal speed maximum, which simply is only stopping him from gaining speed this way. HSP is greater than negative HSP PM. Yeah, so as long as he's not moving faster than his horizontal speed maximum, he'll still be able to gain speed as normal. So yeah, that's all fine and dandy. Next up, we're going to be scrolling up here and adding a few more variables for jumping purposes. Yeah, we're going to be refining Sonic's jump code. So first up, JMP equals negative 6.5, and SJMP equals negative 4. So Sonic has two jump values too. His normal one and a smaller jump. So his speed is either going to come out at 6.5, which is his highest jump, or 4, which is his lowest jump. On top of that, we have another variable we need to add called action, and this will equal 0. Action will help us keep track of Sonic's current action state. 0 being his normal state when he's running, 1 being when he's jumping, 2 is when he's rolling, 3 is when he jumps out of a roll, but we won't be doing that this time, basically. -1 will be ducking, -2 will be the spin dash charge, -3 will be looking up, and -4 will be the peel out. These are all very artificial numbers. They don't actually need to be this value. This is just the value I personally use because it makes sense in my head. So now we're going to find his movement. So we're just going to delete all of this. Ground equals 0 because he needs to leave the ground to jump. VSP equals ACOS times JMP. HSP equals asine times JMP. Angle equals 0. ACOS equals 1. And ascend equals 0. And finally, action equals 1. Because he's currently jumping. So this will make it so Sonic jumps perpendicular to whatever angle he's currently on, which is pretty nice for, you know, jumping. Anyways, let's go back up to the top and add in another shortcut key. So key AR equals to keyboard check, keyboard check. I'm so slow and always making them typos. VK space. Alright, so now we have another shortcut to let us know when Sonic releases his jump. And we can use this to let Sonic short hop, basically. So if key underscore AR equal, well, if key underscore AR and VSP is less than SJMP and action equals 1, then we'll have his VSP equal to SJMP. So this will, if you release all and your speed is less than your speed is currently greater than your small jump, then it will reset your speed to be equal to your small jump, so it cuts your velocity and lets you have a short hop if you release it before you finish. And before I forget, always gotta label these so we don't forget. Alright. So, one more thing. I almost forgot. So, landing if ground and action equals 1, action equals 0. So if you land when jumping, it will reset your, if you land while you're jumping, it will reset your action to 0, which is your default action. So, oh boy. Hopefully that's all that. And I'm actually going to tone myself up a bit. Hello. Okay. So now that all that's done, and I'm also going to tone the music down just a bit. So now all that's done, it's time to get into the more meat of things. Now we're going to go back up to Sonic's Create event, and we're going to add in a few more variables. So a drag equals 0.968. See, 96875. Yep, that's it. BFR equals to 0.02 free for 375. There we go. Did I set up my stuff correctly? Whatever. Then we'll go add another variable called BDCC. Have this equal to 0.1484375. Yep, that's it. Okay. Now all these numbers are not just arbitrary values. I got this straight from Sonic Retro's physics page, so yeah, these are the actual in-game values they used in Sonic 1, 2, and 3. That's kind of cool. And wheeled, but SP equals 0, and spot equals 0, and then finally X direct or XDIR short equals 1. Okay. SP stands for spin power, and spot stands for super peel out timer. This will help us with the spin dash, making it walk, and this will help us with the peel out, making that walk. And BFR stands for ball friction, and BDCC stands for ball deceleration, because those have their own values, which is really strange, but that's how it's like in the games. So let's go back down to our P-move script, or movement script, and add a few more shortcut keys. Key underscore D equals keyboard check VK underscore down, and key underscore U equals keyboard check VK underscore up. Alright. So with that, we can now check if we're holding down or holding up. So next up, we're going to code in rolling and ducking. Because, well, we have to code in ducking and rolling before we can code in the spin dash, because it's reliant on both of those existing functions. Because in order to spin dash, you have to duck first, and all the spin dash does is send you rolling in a direction at a certain speed. So, first up, if key underscore D, and ground, and action equals 0. This basically will make it so it only walks if we hit down while we're on the ground in our normal default action state. So next we need to add in a speed check, because if Sonic's going above a certain value, he'll roll, but if he's walking below it, he'll duck. So to do this, we'll go if a absolute horizontal speed is less than 1.03125, then HSP equals 0, and action equals -1. This will make it so if he's moving slower than this arbitrary value ripped straight from Sonic 3, he'll duck. But get out of here. If he's going faster, then we want to set his action state to 2, which is his roll state. Alright. Now we need to be able to have him stop rolling, so to do that, we're just going to add in a few lines for checking. Well, stop rolling and ducking. So, first up, we'll do the ducking. If action equals -1, and not key underscore D, then action equals 0. Alright, so that will let him unduck just by releasing down. Rolling, we have 2 checks. One for when he comes to a stop rolling, and the other if he lands while rolling. So if action equals 2 and ABS, or absolute horizontal speed, is less than 0.5, which I think is his deceleration value. And ground, then action equals 0. Alright, and one more if action equals 2 and VSP is greater than 0 and not ground and collision script ground 14, then action equals 0. I don't actually need it to be take up 3 whole lines. Alright. That will let him stop rolling and ducking. So always remember to comment so you don't forget what stuff does. Alright, so one more thing. Next we gotta make Sonic be able to look up and stop looking up, which is basically more the same. So if key underscore U and ground and action equals 0, if ABS, or absolute horizontal speed, is less than 0.2, then HSP equals 0 and action equals -3. Alright, now I can look up. We need to make him able to stop looking up. So if not key underscore U, or not ground, or key underscore right, or key underscore left, and action equals -3, then action equals 0. So this will make it if we stop holding up, leave the ground, or move left or right at any point, we'll stop looking up. Alright. Let me just reposition myself, take a drink, and we'll move on to the next bit. So now we need to give Sonic a way to slow down while he's rolling. Now if we come up to our old code, this will only work when he's in his action state 0, but we need to have it change depending upon his action state. As well as so to do that, we're going to reuse this code, but add a few more checks to it. So first up, if action equals 0 or action equals 1, oh, and then if ground then we want to cut and repaste this code into here, will be far more effective doing what it does. And just to save on some space, I'm also going to compress it a little bit, so it takes up far less lines, but still enough to keep it readable. There we go. So, else? Now we only want to use the movement code we had up to this point when Sonic's on the ground in his normal action state. When he's in the air, he has completely different physics for movement. I mean, not really completely different, just mostly different. Different enough, I guess you can say. The main difference is he loses his deceleration value, and he actually has twice the amount of acceleration value. I think he also loses his friction, but no, actually he doesn't lose his friction in this state. He loses in a different state. But anyways, that's basically going to fix all movement code and prevent Sonic from being able to move with this code in any other state besides his default and his jump state. Now, when he's rolling, or in action state 2, he has yet again completely different physics or player input controls. Because when rolling, he can't speed up, he can only slow down. I mean, he can still gain speed through slope factor and other things, but he cannot gain speed from holding right while rolling. So to do that, we're going to ground. Oh, another thing, even when rolling, he has different physics based upon if he's on the ground or not. So that's fun and kind of confusing. But if if his horizontal speed is greater than his ball friction, then his horizontal speed is minus equal his ball friction. So if he's moving, if he has greater horizontal speed than his friction, then he loses horizontal speed equal to his friction. But that's not all. Key underscore left, then HSP is also minus his deceleration. So regardless, he'll lose speed based on his friction, but he'll also lose speed based off his deceleration if you're holding a direction equal to the opposite he's moving. So we need to repeat this for the right. So if HSP is greater than negative BFall, or negative ball friction, then HSP plus equal BFall. And also if key underscore all, HSP plus equal BDCC. There we go. So with this, he'll lose speed in both directions, but he'll still won't come to a complete stop. So just to make sure that he does, in case something wonky happens, if HSP is greater than BFall and if HSP is less than BL, and if HSP is greater than negative BFall, then HSP just equals 0, not flag. Alright, so with that we have one more line, which is if he's rolling and he's in the air, and that's kind of easy because it's literally his jump code minus his friction. Alright, so almost done with that. We just need to go up to the top here and add in if action equals 0, if key underscore L, then his X direct equals -1, And if key underscore all, his x direct will equal 1. Oh. So this will make it, if we spell it correctly, this will make it so if you hold left, he turns left. If you hit right, he turns right. Pretty self-explanatory, but yeah. And last but not least, we need to add in his ail drag. So let's make a new line here. And if VSP is less than 0 and VSP is greater than -4, then if absolute HSP is greater or equal to 0.125, then his HSP equals his HSP times ail drag. Basically, to sum this up, if his speed is between 0 and -4, and his absolute horizontal speed is greater than 0.125, then he loses his speed based upon, he loses 9/10 about his current horizontal speed due to his ail drag. This sounds about right. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with this. So let's test it out and see if everything's working. So he's still moving right and left correctly. We can still run up walls like always. He still doesn't fall off it, but I'll add that in a later video. If you jump, he'll always jump perpendicular to whatever angles he's currently on. He always loses a good amount of speed when he jumps due to his ail drag. Just like he does in the game. And if you hit down while moving, he starts rolling. Though that's a little hard to tell because he's a ball. So let's fix that. I went ahead and added in all my Sonic sprites ahead of time. So yeah, if you want to add in the sprites yourself, just get a sprite sheet with all the sprites you want to add, and the only thing you need to make sure is that you copy and paste them in correctly, and that the center point is always in the middle of the sprite and 16 pixels above the bottom of Sonic's foot. Otherwise, he won't sync up correctly. He'll either be a pixel above the ground or a pixel in the ground. This way, he's always perfectly where we want him to be. And one more thing. This is just how I handle sprites in my game. You don't have to do exactly what I do. If you have a method you prefer on your own, feel free to use it, because the sprite code does not actually affect Sonic whatsoever and how he controls. So yeah, this is just how I do it. I'm going to make some variables, so but if I could spell correctly, I still can't. First up, I'm going to take the image index, set that to 0, sprite, take the sprite index and set that to 0 as well, and finally take the image speed and set that to 0, just so none of these move, because I don't plan on using any of them. I plan on making my own variables. So full stop SPRP, I'll have to set that equal to SPR underscore Sonic underscore stand, or standing sprite, let's see, frame, I'll leave that equal to 0, image underscore I equal that to 0, and last underscore action equal that to 0 as well. So what is this on? I'm skipping it. Alright, so let's go and make a new draw event. So first thing we're going to do is draw a sprite. So draw underscore sprite ext esplp image underscore I x y x direction 1 angle c underscore white and set the alpha to 1. So how I'm going to be handling this is I'm going to only be drawing one sprite for the character, period. And the only thing that's going to change is which sprite I draw and which frame I draw it on. So yeah. So before I continue on, a little bit more preface. If image underscore I is greater than 998, then image underscore I equals 0. And lastly, if frame is greater or equal to 1, and frame equals 0, and image underscore I plus equal 1. Alright. So this will make it so if the image I ever gets greater than 998, it resets. That's just to save space. It's not very that important. Just uses slightly few less variables in the memory. And if frame is greater or equal to 1, then frame resets, and it also adds 1 to the image index. Basically, frame replaces all image speed, and image I replaces all image index. And I just realized that that was C direct instead of X direct, so that's wrong. So now we're just going to set up a series of situations to retell our game what SPR and image I should be equal to. So first up, we'll do our standing sprite, and if HSP equals 0 and ground and action equals 0, SPRP equals SPR underscore Sonic underscore stand, and last underscore action equals 0. Alright, pretty simple. If Sonic's horizontal speed is equal to 0, aka he's not moving, he's on the ground, and in his default animation, he will just be standing. Now, the running sprite is a tad bit more complicated, but it's basically the same ideal with a few extra steps. So walking, running, sprinting. So if HSP not equals 0 or not ground and action equals 0. So if Sonic is not has any horizontal speed whatsoever, or he's not on the ground while he's in default action state, this will apply. This will make it so if he is in the air and not jumping or rolling, he'll still have a sprite, and that'd be his running sprite. Full stop if last underscore action equals 0, then image I equals 0, and then last action equals 1. This will make it so if he was standing last, it will reset his his index to 0, making him always start at his beginning frame, full running. And speaking of frame plus equal 1 divided by max, and 8 minus x direct times HSP. Alright. So this will make it so Sonic frame advance is always 1 divided by whichever was bigger, 8 minus his horizontal speed times his direction, or 1. Basically, the slower he's moving, the slower his animation is, and the faster he's moving, the faster the animation is, capping at a maximum of 1 frame per frame. So next we need to ask a few questions. So if his absolute HSP is less than 6, then his SPR sprite will be equal to SPR underscore Sonic walk. So if he's moving slower than 6, a speed of 6, then we'll use his walking sprite. But if his absolute horizontal speed is greater or equal to 6, and his absolute horizontal speed is less than 10, then SPRP will equal Sonic underscore run. SPR Sonic underscore run. And lastly, if ABS or his absolute horizontal speed is greater or equal to 10, yeah, then SPRP will be equal to SPR underscore Sonic underscore Brent. Yep, that's the one I'm looking for. So if he's moving less than 6 pixels per second, he's walking. If he's moving 6 or less than 10 but greater or equal to 6, he's running. And if he's moving greater than 10, he's sprinting. His sprint being his, Sonic CD peel out, running being his traditional run, and walking being his traditional walk. So now with that out of the way, we can go down to the next bit, which is his jumping and rolling. So jump, roll. Since his jumping and rolling is basically the same animation, just the little ball, then we can basically use it for both. So if action equals 1 or action equals 2, then we can use this. So frame plus equal 1 divided by max, 5 minus ABS or absolute horizontal speed, 1. There we go. Actually, what am I doing? ABS. That's what. Can't believe I just remembered I could do that. Oh, that's why it's broken. Okay. There we go. And next we just need to set SPR P equal to SPR Sonic roll. There we go. So now he'll roll like we want him to. And next we'll make him be able to duck and jump. So ducking is pretty simple. If action equals -1 or his, ducking animation, then we just set SPL P equal to SPL Sonic duck. Well, actually, I think looking down? No, it's look down. I need to remember why. Alright, there we go. That makes sense. And then image underscore I equals 1, which is literally the frame, because his, we just want to make sure it's on the actual ducking frame. Since we have an animation, but I'm not going over this right now. I'll go over the animating ducking in a later video, or live stream, or whatever ends up being. And looking up is literally the same code, just so instead of action -1, it's -3, and instead of looking down, it's looking up. Alright, so everything's looking right. Let's test it out and see if Sonic's Sonic. So, boom, he can roll, he can run, he can look up, he can look down, he can jump, he can do all your traditional Sonic activities. Alright, so next up, let's add in the spin dash and the super peel out. So let's go back to our P movement code, go down to the bottom here, make a new line, and we'll start with the peel out just because it's a little easier. So first thing we need to do is make it so Sonic can go into the peel out action. So if action equals -3 and key underscore A, then action equal -4. And to make sure nothing breaks, if action not equals -4 and spot equals 30. That is a 20. Alright, 30. So the super peel out, at least how it is in the original game, is actually timer based. So if you hold up and A or B, C after 30 seconds, then you'll eventually, once the timer finishes counting down, you release it, it will launch you in that direction. So that's how we're doing it. Just like it's done in CD. So we do this so when you're not using it, it always resets the timer back to 30 to make sure it always works. So if action equals -4 and full stop, if key underscore all. So if, what am I talking about? If key underscore A all, so if you release A at any point, then action equals 0, because you'll always go back to your default action space regardless of what point you release it at. But if spot is also equal to 0, then your horizontal speed is equal to your X direction times 12. And lastly, if spot is not equal to 0, spot minus equal 1. So if it's not currently equal to 0, then we'll continue to count down 1 every frame until it eventually is. Alright. So time for the spin dash. Now we're going to go with the Sonic 2 interpretation of the spin dash. So every time you hit A, it will charge the spin dash. The more you hit it, the higher the charge is, and the higher the charge is, the faster you'll go when you release it. But if you want, you can just hold down, tap A, and release it, and go at your slowest speed, but still go as soon as you want. Okay, so to do this, first we need to we're going to set up the SP to slowly grade over time. So if SP is greater than 0, actually, then SP equals SP minus C, SP div 1 divided by 265? Yeah, that's it. So this will make it, if SP is greater than 0, it will lose a bit of itself equal to itself, or equal to what it can be divided from itself over 0 divided by 265. And if you don't understand that, that's fine. It's kind of overly complicated just to shrink the number, the bigger it is, or to shrink it more, the bigger it is, and slower, the smaller it is. That's all it does. This is how they did it in Sonic 2, and this is how I'm going to do it in Sonic, well, this game. Well, anyways, on top of that, we need to add a limitation. So if SP is greater than 64, then SP equals 64. Now I'm going with a slightly bigger number because it makes the game work a tad bit better. If you let the number stay too small, then it can kind of confuse itself. And I forgot the F. It's okay, we'll divide that by 8 when we're doing the final calculation, and that will make sure we don't get ludicrous speeds. But now we need to be able to charge it, so if action equals -2 and key underscore A, then SP plus equal 8. And now to finally be able to release it. So if action equals -2 and not key underscore D, yeah, and HSP equals X direction times 8 times floor SP divided by 8. Alright. So that will launch us at the speed we want, and then action equals 2 to put us in our roll state, and finally SP equal to 0. And now we can release it. Now we just need to be able to enter the state. So if action equals -1 and key underscore A and SP equals 0 and action equals -2. Alright, so now we can spin dash. Now we just need to add the animation for both. So let's go back to our workspace, go to our draw code, and we'll make it slightly bigger. So we'll start with the peel out. And we'll do if action equals -4, then frame plus equal 0.5, and if spot is greater or equal to 17, then SPRP equals SPR underscore Sonic walk. If spot is greater or equal to 5 and spot is less than 17, and SPRP equals SPR underscore Sonic underscore run. And finally, if spot is less than 5, SPRP equals SPR underscore Sonic underscore sprint. This will make it so if Sonic is doing the peel out, the closer you get to 0, the faster the running sprite gets. It goes from his walking to his running to his sprinting to give the player a better sense of timing when to release it. And that's all for the peel out. So all's left is the spin dash. If action equals -2, then frame plus equal 0.5. If key underscore A, then image underscore I equals 0, and SPRP equals SPR underscore Sonic spin dash. There we go, and that's all. That will basically just make him do his spin dash animation, and every time you hit A subsequently, then it will restart the animation back at 0. So it restarts every time you hit it to give a better sense of charging. Alright. So let's just save our walk and everything and test it out. So still running, still jumping like normal. Hold down, we crouch. Oh. And of course, I forget it yet again. The most important thing is going to our jump code and adding another variable and action equals 0 or action equals 2, because we only want to let him jump when he's either in his normal state or his roll state, not when he's ducking or looking up. Okay, save that and let's get back into this. So, yeah, you can spin dash, you can charge it. The higher the number is, the faster he goes. If I only hit it once, then it doesn't go anywhere. That's kind of weird. If I hold up, release it, then he does the peel out. That's kind of weird. Supposed to always go at his minimum speed. Oh, that's why the doi. It's not times, it's plus. So it's extract plus, well, extract times 8 plus floor SP divided by 8. Okay, that should fix it. Yep, so he always goes at, if you only tap it once and release, he goes at his slowest speed. But if you tap it like a bunch of times and release it almost frame perfectly, that's still not walking. That's because it's X direct times floor. Okay. Gotta love this. Yep, there it goes. And there he goes. And the peel out walks like intended. You can go at super speeds up until you lose it all from the old dragon jumping. Alright, so that's basically everything. Thank you all for watching, those who did, those who didn't. Maybe we can do this kind of thing again sometimes. Yet again, I only did this because after like trying to record this video like 7 or 8 times and always having to record it because something went horribly wrong, preventing me from editing it like I normally do and making a smooth final product. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can do it in this live stream format again if you guys respond well to this, because it would be definitely a lot quicker. I'll be able to pump out videos twice as fast without worrying about editing the videos. I'll still have to script everything ahead of time so I don't mess up what I'm trying to say and stuff like that. But, well, yet again, that's all for this episode. If you found it helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to find out as soon as I release my next episode. The next episode we're going to be going about. I'm going to be covering loops, loop-de-loops, as well as one-way platforms. So that'll be fun. But until then, this is the Single Shot Gamer signing out. Thank you all for watching. Night.